What's going on, everybody? This is Michael from MTG Anarchy, where we take a look into the world of Magic the Gathering and throw a little bit of mischief and chaos into the mix. How is everybody doing today? Today, we are going to be talking about what was announced as of September 1st of 2020 from Wizards of the Coast. All the spoilers, all the details, and my personal impressions with what's going on with not only Zednikar Rising, but other things among the list. But before we actually jump into that coverage, if you haven't done so, or this is your first time on the channel, I would personally appreciate it if you could go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can keep up to date with any new videos that do come out here on the channel of MTG Anarchy. With that said, let's just jump right into our discussion for today. Wizards of the Coast has given us a lot of information as of the 1st of September pertaining to not only Zednikar Rising, but Secret Lairs, as well as future products we are expecting to see within next year. Let's actually go down the list to talk about what I thought of each and everything that was announced, as well as released as actual information that we received from Wizards of the Coast. First off, let's talk actually about that trailer. Now, honestly, I thought that it gave a good representation about what's currently going on with Nahiri, as well as what she wants to do, especially when it comes to saving her home plane of Zednikar. It also tells about how far she's willing to actually go against the Royals, the ones that are currently protecting Zednikar, and what she's actually willing to do to achieve her goals. Now, personally, I think that when it comes down to the story from the trailer and everything like that, I hope we actually get some more information pertaining this info from her story, as well as what's going on with her throughout the web stories that they're hopefully releasing. Now, with the web stories, I hope that they're not going to paywall for that information, but you know what? You never know from Wizards of the Coast. They may paywall so you can get to that information, or it could be free. I'm hoping it's free so we know more about what's going on with Nahiri's story, as well as what's going on with not only her, but Jace and Nissa. Which, again, we're excited to see them coming back to Zednikar and everything there. So hopefully we can get more information based off the web stories and so forth. Speaking about Jace, Nissa, and Nahiri, let's actually talk about their Planeswalker cards that were finally fully revealed by Wizards of the Coast. Now, we personally have actually seen a couple of previews when it came to Nahiri and Jace, as well as their abilities, but we hadn't been able to go ahead and check out about Nissa. And personally, out of the three, the strongest I feel is the Nissa Planeswalker. Now, first let's bring in Nissa. Nissa of Shadowed Bows is a 4-drop Planeswalker with a loyalty of 4. It has Landfall, which whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you put a loyalty counter on Nissa of Shadowed Burrows. Also, her +1, untap target land you control, you may have it become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste and menace until end of turn and still land. Honestly, that's not surprising from a Nissa Planeswalker. The big surprising thing, though, is the -5 ability. Now, you may put a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2+1/+1 counters. Honestly, this is one, if not the most powerful Planeswalker we've seen thus far. It not only does free casting for a -5 spell, but it has landfall. Honestly, this card is going to be put in any sort of landfall-esque decks, and I would be surprised if you do not play this with a Get Rock sort of deck, especially within Commander, because honestly, if that's not in here, I don't know what would. So again, keep in mind that this is going to be a very powerful card and it's going to sell out pretty fast. Next up, let's talk about Nahiri, Heir of the Ancient. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients is a 4-cost or 4-drop Planeswalker, legendary Planeswalker, with a loyalty of 4, so it's kind of the same as Nissa, but her +1 allows her to create a 1/1 core warrior creature token. You may attach an equipment you control to it, so really good in equipment sort of decks. Her -2 is look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a warrior or equipment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So similar to what Nahiri would normally do. And her -3, Nahiri, Hair of the Ancients, deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment you control. So again, this is very good with equipment-esque decks, but how much play she's going to actually see, I do not know. I mean, they may focus on the warrior subtype, but we'll only have to see from here. Finally, let's talk about Jace Mirror Mage. This legendary planeswalker has a loyalty of 4, costs 3 mana to cast, has a kicker of 2, and does the following. When Jace Mirror Mage enters the battlefield, if Jace was kicked, create a token that's a copy of Jace Mirror Mage, except it's not legendary and its starting loyalty is 1. Its +1 allows you to scry 2, and if you pay 0, draw a card and reveal it. Remove a number of loyalty counters equal to that card's converted mana cost from Jace Mirror Mage. Honestly, to me, with Jace Mirror Mage, it's, I feel, one of the weakest ones, but again, only time will tell to see if it's going to see a lot of play or minimal play. Again, this whole Scry 2 ability is always good in general, but we'll have to wait and see, especially when it comes down to a lot of decks that will potentially use this card or not. So keep your eye out for this one. Next up, let's actually talk about the full art basic lands. Honestly, to me, they look good. They have a good sort of feel to them. I personally like the art style to them. The issues that I have, especially with these, is that you're not really able to get the foils in a regular sort of manner, because the foils will really only be available in the collector's boosters in a regular sort of sense, and for the set boosters per se, you're only able to really get hopefully 1 if you can, but again, it's highly unlikely with the set boosters to get a foil full art basic. So it seems to me that with the full art basics, honestly, I like the art, I like the style, I like everything about it because it shows that adventure-esque theme. But again, it's just having another premium aspect for the foil versions over the non-foil. So personally, I'm gonna get the non-foil versions of them, but again, that's just my opinion. What are you guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think on this one. Next up, let's actually talk about the mechanics that they actually introduced within this set. Now, of course, they brought a couple back that we're already familiar with, Kicker and Landfall, which I feel is a very good idea for them to actually go ahead and accomplish with them. I believe that with Zednikar bringing back Kicker, bringing back Landfall, if they didn't bring it back here, I think a lot of fans would actually be mad, they'd be peeved, that sort of thing like that. But when it comes to the 2 new mechanics that are coming out, Party and Modal DFCs, let's actually talk about those a little bit. For me, I think the Party mechanic, especially with the idea around Zednikar, where you're forming a party, you're getting together, going on an adventure, I think that is an interesting look, especially with what's going on within Zednikar. I think it fits that sort of idea, that sort of story. And honestly, I can't actually wait to see with what they're actually going to go ahead and do, especially with that full party sort of theme. Will it give a little bit more variety when it comes to deck building? Will it not? Again, only time will tell, but to me, I like the idea. Modal DFCs, or modal double face cards. There are things that I like about it and things that I don't. First off, I like the art when it comes to the lands, when it comes to these specific ones. I think they did a really good job, and whoever they hired to go ahead and do the lands here, I think they did a spectacular sort of job. So to me, I like the art. I do feel that with the helper cards, they're going to be really good, especially with that whole double-sided sort of thing. So you can just keep it off to the side and then just play it with the helper card when you need it. So that way you don't have to keep flipping or anything like that. And with every draft booster, they'll actually have that modal DFC. So ultimately, you'll be able to really get one, whether it's the double land one or the land spell one or others. So again, I am excited to see the idea. I think it's a really cool idea. The issue I have with it is the double-faced lands. Now, even though they look cool and it goes well with the theme of adventure because you have one pathway or the other and you're choosing, so the idea is there, I think when it comes down to a gameplay sort of aspect, yes, you're going to go ahead and choose one of the 2 that is available to you, but once you've made that choice, you have to stick with that choice unless you return that land to hand and then go ahead and choose the other side or anything like that. It's a choice between one or the other. And that's where I find issue with this, because ultimately for us, we want to have options available, and this does give people options, but to me, it feels very limited in those options. And I feel that, yes, in the short term and the limited term, you may see this as something expensive, especially with these double-sided land cards, but long term, I'm not so sure. I think that it's a cool idea, it's unique, and I think a land with a spell option is always great. But in terms of land with another land and you choose one or the other, to me, I'd rather go ahead and take a tap land that gives me both options from the get-go. But that's just my thought on that. Honestly, I don't mind the draw, or I don't mind them not having that drawback where you can use it immediately. But again, you're choosing one or the other. And to me, I think people are gonna blow this up more than it actually needs to go. So that's just my thought on the modal double face card situation. Let's actually bring up some very good special mentions that they're bringing to this set. First off, Lotus Cobra. I feel that a lot of people would have been peeved off if they did not bring Lotus Cobra in. And honestly, the alternate art looks good. It looks like that travel poster sort of feel that they were trying to intend with it. And honestly, I think that whether it's just the regular version or that alternate art version, it's a good card in a lot of different formats. So to see them bring that back, I think that's amazing. Another card that I'd like to mention here is Omnath, Locust of Creation. Honestly, I want to do a separate video on this one because it feels like it's going to be very powerful in general. But again, I feel that it's a really good card. Keep your eye out for that one. Also, special mentions, I believe that when it comes down to the showcase versions, they hit it out of the park, especially with Zednikar. Honestly, I liked how they did the themes and everything like that. And hopefully we get to see more creative ideas like this. Moving on, let's talk about expeditions. We finally get expeditions back, and honestly, I think we're all excited for it, especially for some of the ones that they've revealed. For example, Prismatic Vista, Wasteland, Cavern of Souls. I mean, these are all really high-priced cards that they are actually bringing back within expeditions. And with the expeditions, it's going to be good because first off, they're going to come in as box stoppers. So if you're going to get a set booster or draft booster, you're going to get a non-foil expedition per box. So that's always a step up instead of having it in that lottery style. So I think that's a good choice. And with the art, oof. And with the collector's version, you're going to get 2 non-foil versions per box. So I mean, that is a little bit better for there. Plus, within the collector's booster, you're able to potentially pull a foil version, whereas in the other sets you're not. So that's an issue I see, especially when it comes to a premium version of a product versus non-premiums. Again, it's something that happens from time to time. But the good mention about this is that with all the expeditions, they're all land-based. So there's no other cards that are specific when it comes to expeditions. It's all just land, and they look like they're cards that are either specific, like the Prismatic Vista or Cavern of Souls or Wasteland, or they're the enemy or allied fetches, which we've been wanting them for a while. We're getting them back here, so I'm glad for that sort of thing, as well as the Crowdlands. Crowdlands actually look pretty good, especially for Commander players, so honestly, I'm glad they're putting them here as well. But yeah, I think them bringing back expeditions is always a good thing. I think that's what made Zednikar really, really popular, especially for Battle for Zednikar. And I think it's only improving upon Zednikar here. Now, how this is going to affect the secondary market, I personally don't know, but I'm hoping that it does well in general for individuals that want to go ahead and pick up these fetch lands and everything when it comes down to these expeditions. So again, I like the idea, I like where they're going with it, but we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with all these different types of cards being put into the secondary market. Now let's jump over to the set boosters. Now, personally, I like the idea of the whole set boosters thing. I think it's interesting to see where this is going to go, especially when it comes to newer products. And honestly, to me, I like how they've included this specialty-esque product, especially when it comes to the list, which again, Spike Feeder. Spike Feeder is a part of that list, so good choice, Wizards. But to me, with a product that's within other product that they're mentioning, hey, this is for you that want to just open boosters, to me, it just feels like a cash grab. I wish I could really go more in depth on that, but honestly, it just sounds like Wizards is just trying to make money off of people, and you're pretty much paying more for less. Now, I mean, even with the list sort of situation in there, that's a 25% chance from your wild cards that you're potentially going to go ahead and get one card off of a 300 card list. So if it's a good card that they're going to put in there, like Spike Feeder, perfect. But if it's something that nobody really cares about, then to me, I feel like it's going to be a feel bad. And honestly, you're paying more for less potentially. So I think that when it comes down to it, I think this is Wizards saying, hey, look, we want more people to buy our product. Let's go ahead and do this sort of thing so more people get this product. I think it's interesting, but I think that it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with this product further on down the line. Now that we've discussed a lot about Zednikar Rising, let's talk about future worlds that we're going to be visiting. The first world we're going to be visiting is Kaldheim, coming out in the first quarter of 2021. Now, Kaldheim is that Viking world that a lot of people have been looking to go ahead and want Wizards to get into. I mean, we've already gotten into the Greeks with Theros. We've already gotten into the Egyptian theme with Amonkhet, and Kaldheim is a world for Vikings. So to me, I hope they go pretty well into the Viking mythos as well as the mythology and everything like that. I hope to see snow-covered permanents come into this product, but again, we'll just have to wait and see until more information comes out for Kaldheim. Next up, let's talk about Strixhaven, School of Mages. To me, this feels like a Harry Potter theme. I mean, it's very specific to call it that. You're having 5 different colleges battling against each other. This is going to be focusing on mages, wizards, sorcerers. I mean, there's going to be a lot of that sort of theme, and honestly, it makes sense for Wizards to do this sort of thing, but I think if they're going in the direction with Wizards in general and everything like that, especially with the School of Mages, I think this is going to be very unique in its own sort of way, and it's an interesting and awesome idea. So hopefully we get to see a good sort of thing coming out of this in quarter 2. Next up, the surprise to all of us, Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, coming out in quarter 3. Honestly, this is possibly going to be one of the most exciting sort of things we're going to be seeing from Wizards of the Coast, especially since this inspired the game of Magic the Gathering. Dungeons & Dragons is that thing that a lot of people who also play Magic play, and I'm excited for this. Personally, I hope to see a lot coming out of this, and hopefully if you are a Critical Role sort of fan, maybe there's a tie-in with, I don't know, a secret lair with the Critical Role fandom or the Critical Role people. So again, I'm hoping that they do something along those lines, but we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons. Next, let's get into Innistrad Werewolves and Innistrad Vampires. Now, this is a great thing for all of you that actually like the Innistrad sort of blocks and everything like that. We're returning to Innistrad, and they're having a focus on vampires and werewolves. That, to me, seems very interesting. It just seems like a whole Twilight novel as well, but hopefully not with the whole sparkle vampire or brooding werewolf sort of situation. To me, this also gives Wizards an opportunity for them to bring back something like the dual decks, where it's vampires versus werewolves. And honestly, I think this is going to be an exciting sort of set that I can't wait for quarter 4 with this specific set. So keep an eye out for this one. Next on our list, let's talk about Time Spiral Remastered. Now, this set is coming out between quarter 1 and quarter 2 for 2021, and honestly, I cannot be more excited. I honestly did not have the opportunity or chance to play with any of the Time Spiral cards, and this is one of the ways that I will now be able to get my hands on these specific cards. So hopefully they choose some really good ones from that Time Spiral sort of set, and not only that, they're gonna bring back a lot of those cards within the original border. To me, that's just great, and I hope to see more information about this pretty soon. The last set we're gonna go ahead and bring up is Modern Horizons 2. Now, this was a surprise to many of us. Honestly, to me, I'm not only excited, but I'm excited to see what's going to go ahead and be put into the set. We finally know that in 2021, we're going to get the enemy fetch lands. Maybe they're going to come with the same art, maybe they're going to be a different art, who knows? But we're actually getting them reprinted in a modern Horizon set. So to me, I think that it's great that we're actually getting that reprint, especially for individuals that we know that need them in their decks. So I am glad that they did it. I'm excited to see the set, and I'm excited to see more information come out about the set. Finally, let's round up with a couple of things that were mentioned towards the end. First up, the shoe. The Jace's shoes by K-Swiss. Now, they did this in partnership with the Wizards of the Coast, and honestly, they look unique, they look kind of cool, but at the same time, I would have found these much more cooler back in 6th or 7th grade, or something I could see on a toddler or an elementary school kid. Honestly, there are going to be sneakerheads that have a different opinion, and to me, it's just, they're interesting, but it's not something I'm interested in. Speaking about interesting things, let's talk about secret lairs. So the first secret lair is the Yargle series. If you're interested in Yargle and everything like that, keep your eye out for that. But to me, it's just they're trying to pounce on the idea of Yargle, of this joke type character, and ultimately I just feel that it's not really interesting. So I think Wizards of the Coast is trying to bank on us purchasing this sort of thing. But the other one that seems a little bit more up my alley, even though I'm not a big fan, is the Walking Dead version secret lair. So with Wizards doing a partnership with The Walking Dead, with AMC and everything like that, I'm guessing we're going to see more things like this in the future with other things. I could possibly see, they already did one with the Godzilla, they're doing one with Walking Dead. I could possibly see them doing something with Transformers, even though Transformers has their own card game, or Ghostbusters, or just these other sorts of things, especially with like these big sorts of things that they could actually do these deals with. But to me, it's just, it feels like another cash grab. It's interesting to see what they're gonna do with the specifics, especially with that token. It looks good, especially also with the tagline that's on there. But yeah, I personally think that if you're into The Walking Dead, this is something that you're wanting to go ahead and get. If you're not, then maybe this is something you pass up on. Finally, let's bring up the topic that everybody's gonna have on their minds. Arena is coming to mobile devices pretty soon. Now, we didn't necessarily get a date on this, but we got the idea that Arena will be coming to mobile devices. So hopefully they hit Android and Apple, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. There is no specific date on when this is coming out, so we'll also have to watch out for the date specifically. But I'm pretty excited because, yes, I don't play Arena because to me, it's just, you have to be on a computer to do it. Whereas now there's places and there's games that you can play on your phone. And this is just another good step for Wizards to take. Now, how they're going to integrate that from the phone to the PC and that sort of thing, again, I don't know. But I'm pretty excited for it. I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to do on mobile. But with everything said, what did you guys think about all these announcements from Wizards of the Coast from the September 1st announcements? Let me know in the comments down below what was your best positive about this, what was the worst negative, and so on and so forth. And go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. But thank you so much for watching this video here on the channel of MTG Anarchy. Now, I would personally appreciate it if you could go ahead and like and share this video, as I want this to get out into the algorithm. Also, if you haven't done so, like I said earlier, please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can keep up to date with any new videos that do come out here on the channel. And finally, if you can do so, if you're financially stable, go and support your local game stores. We all want a place to go back to when everything actually gets better. So hopefully you can go ahead and support your local game store as long as you're financially stable. But thank you all so much for watching this video. This is Michael here with MTG Anarchy, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.